This episode of the D-Lew Podcast is brought to you by Happy Wrap. You ever wanted to design your very own gift wrapping paper? Now is your chance to do so. Whether it's for the holiday season, weddings, anniversaries, birthdays, no matter what the occasion calls for, you can use Happy Wrap to wrap your gifts. As a matter of fact, you can even design notebooks, greeting cards, gift tags, and so much more. You can sign up today at happy.thedlewpodcast.com and use the promo code DLEW to get your 10% discount at checkout. Again, that's happy.thedlewpodcast.com and use promo code DLEW to get your 10% discount at checkout. By Simpler Hair Color. Hey guys, are you tired of using that drugstore hair dye brand that isn't getting the job done? If you want to use a great product to cover those grays, have no fear, Simpler Hair Color is here. No mixing, no dripping, no mess. It's super easy to use, whether you're a beginner or a pro. Go to simpler.thedlewpodcast.com and use promo code DLEW10 for your 10% discount at checkout. Again, that's simpler.thedlewpodcast.com and use my promo code DLEW10 for your 10% discount at checkout. And by WWE Shop with Fanatics. Get your favorite WWE superstars merchandise and wear them proud with superstars like the OTC Roman Reigns, Rhea Ripley, the Second City Saint CM Punk, John Cena, Main Event Jey Uso, the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes, and so many more. Oh, by the way, they got some really cool championship belts in there as well. So go to wrestling.thedlewpodcast.com. Again, that's wrestling.thedlewpodcast.com so you can go to WWE Shop with Fanatics. Welcome to another edition of the D-Lew Podcast, brought to you by Siete Media and powered by Believe Network. I'm your host, Derrick T. Lewis, and I hope the week is treating you all absolutely wonderful as we kickstart the weekend. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, you saw it at the top of the show at the open that Siete Music is no more, and it is now Siete Media. We're not just doing music anymore, and this is something that I have been wanting to do for a while now, especially since I relaunched the podcast 2.5 years ago. It was definitely something that was in the works, but I finally did it. And of course, merchandise is going to be changing too, so be on the lookout for that. So I'm looking forward to some big things happening for the show as this rebrand is happening. But this week, just when you thought that wrestling news peaked a couple of weeks ago, oh no, we're just getting started. Yesterday, as I'm recording on a Thursday night, it was announced yesterday, via the Hollywood Reporter and several other news outlets that the WWE PLEs are going to go to ESPN starting next month with their new PLE WrestlePalooza, which is going to go head-to-head with AEW's All Out that takes place in Toronto. And this week, the matriarch of the D-Lew Podcast, Gabi, is off. However, in her place will be one of my good friends in this industry, someone I've known for over 23 years, Beck from the Wilhelm Podcast, is joining me, and we're going to talk about all aspects of this deal and what this means in the near and distant future. Let's not wait any longer. This episode with me and Beck starts right now. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this week sitting in the co-host seat, I've known this guy close to 23 years. I mean, we met in a totally different universe, but this guy is truly one of my really good friends that I can really call a brother and call a friend. Our birthdays are literally like a week and a half apart, but he is also the host of the Wilhelm Podcast. I mean, he's done panels for all kinds of conventions. He's done it all. He's the one and only Beck. Ben, thank you so much for giving your time. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, man. It's funny that you say how long we've known each other, because as of right now, the day that we're recording, that you and I are having this discussion, it is actually our 18-year anniversary on Facebook.
Oh my God, are you serious?
I checked my memories about 3 hours ago, and we have been friends on Facebook for 18 years.
Wow, because I did join Facebook in 2007, so that sounds about right.
Yeah.
That is insane. Like to think about, like we were only communicating on the phone. Like there was no social media before when you and I met in 2002. Like
Yeah.
no, like there was no social media at all. So the fact that we've gone through many things, you know what I mean, through life and everything, and we're still here, man. So it's awesome. But talk to the people about about what you do, man. I talked about it a little bit, but tell the people what it is that you do.
Yeah, so as you said, I'm the host of the Wilhelm Podcast. I've been doing that for about over a decade now. It's a pop culture podcast talking about television and film. I do like top five discussions. I go and I get to review movies in advance, so I do a lot of film reviews.
Hmm.
Excuse me, television reviews. I have celebrities on the podcast that I interview from time to time. You talked about the conventions. I do that as well. I actually just got back from Colorado Springs this past weekend, where I got to moderate panels with just an example, Kari Payton from The Walking Dead, Timothy
Right.
Olmanson from Psych, the cast of the Chainsaw Man anime. But in addition to moderating the panels, I also run the programming for the show. So even when I'm not on stage, I'm rubbing elbows with the celebrities like for all weekend. So it's a great job and I love it, both that and the podcasting. And yeah, that pretty much about sums it up. If people want to check it out, welcome to wilhelm.com is the place where you can pretty much find everything.
Awesome, man. And like I said, this guy has taught me a lot, about podcasting. He's taught me a lot about everything. Literally, I credit him a lot of times, when it comes to things that I know. And I surround myself with people that are smarter than me. And this guy is very, very brilliant. And like I said, get up with him. And like I said, he'll give out his social media at the end of the show. But of course, as we're recording this on a Thursday night, and I really wanted to kind of the dust to settle because the news wires were going haywire yesterday. You know what I mean? With the news that what was supposed to have happened in 2026 is actually happening next month.
Yeah.
WWE is moving their PLEs to ESPN starting next month. They weren't supposed to have a PLE next month. They do now, and it's called WWE WrestlePalooza. It's taking place in Indianapolis, Indiana, on September 20th. But wait a minute.
So I want to throw this out there. We were actually just talking about this weekend, how there was nothing on the calendar as far as PLEs go for September. And my response to that was, there's something on WWE's calendar. They just haven't announced it yet.
Right.
Because as somebody who, as I just talked about, works the convention circuit, it's not you have to put these things together so far in advance.
Agreed.
So for them to just come out and say, oh, by the way, excuse me, here is a new PLE we're going to do this week, next month. No, I don't buy that. This was already in the works. It might not have been an ESPN exclusive
For sure.
PLE, but they already had something on the calendar, but they just weren't sure what it was going to be yet.
Yeah, but what I was going to say was, wait a minute. There is a pay-per-view that's happening that same day in Toronto, Canada, and that's AEW All Out.
Yep.
And because they have been trying to basically counter program AEW. They have been. I mean, like it or not, this is competition. But the fact that the rumored match apparently right now is supposed to be Brock Lesnar and John Cena. Now, I mean, like I said, I want all companies to succeed, but man, that is going to be one hell of a task. They're going to have to, AEW is going to have to put on probably one of the biggest cards they ever had in order to get the people's attention glued onto their pay-per-view and people to buy their pay-per-view. Because remember, AEW is still in the pay-per-view model. I don't know how long that's going to last because the thing is that you can stream it on Triller TV. Or because they were on Bleach, I think they were on Bleacher Report, but I think they're on Triller now. But then you can also buy it on Prime Video for $49.95 still, both on both of those platforms. But to me, I'm just thinking, and they're proving to you, TKO is proving to you that pay-per-view is dead because the UFC just signed the deal with Paramount Plus. They're no longer a pay-per-view model anymore.
Yeah.
And the WWE is no longer a pay-per-view model anymore. They haven't been in the pay-per-view business since 2014, since the birth of the WWE network.
Well, I mean, even look at the Logan Paul fight that was just announced not too long ago is going to be on Netflix. I mean, it's that alone is proof positive that the pay-per-view methodology is gone. It's been gone for a while. Oh, I'm sorry. It it's one of these things that we how long has it been? Like we're now in the mindset that we call them PLEs. We haven't called them pay-per-views, PPVs in a while
Right.
because they've gotten us out of that mindset now. And you're right, AEW is still in that mindset, but you talk about the competition with All Out being the same time as WrestlePalooza. Look at who I'll freely admit, I don't watch AEW. I'm not a fan of AEW. I feel like, and this is just my personal opinion, I feel like AEW is the Florida of professional wrestling. It is where professional wrestling careers go to die. Some people are able to recover from it and return to the mainstream, but I still keep up with some of the big news that comes out of it. Look at what just happened in AEW. Look who just returned, and that's Bryan Danielson. Now it's going to be in a commentator role, but they had to do something to bring that pop, to bring people, to turn people's heads back towards AEW.
Well, I mean, think about it. They were in Scotland yesterday. So and it was a tape show, obviously, because of the time difference.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where I think the WWE has the leg up because of the fact that when they're doing Raw overseas, it's live as it's happening.
Yep.
Now that they're with Netflix, you know what I mean? So that's another thing with streaming. It's a game changer. But I think AEW had to do that and bring in Bryan Danielson back in a commentator role. I don't know if he'll ever wrestle again. For his sake and for him to be around for his kids, I will urge him not to wrestle. But
Yeah.
again, you know what I mean? And I love Bryan Danielson, no matter what you call him, Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson, doesn't matter. The guy can still wrestle. But for considering all that he's gone through physically in his career, like I wouldn't want him to be, nothing to happen to him where he can't really walk to be around with his children. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, though, when I look at how strategic this was, I mean, I'm looking at this right now. The Hollywood Reporter they had put out a press release yesterday, and if I may, and it says ESPN wants to absolutely own the news cycle tomorrow. Talking about today, when it and Fox launched their semi-competing, semi-collaborative news streaming apps. To that end, ESPN is moving up its rights takeover date for WWE's premium live events from 2026 to 1 month from today, September 20th, 2025, beginning with a whole new PLE WrestlePalooza. The WWE personnel currently is in Indianapolis, the site of the first ever WrestlePalooza, to announce the news of the event on Thursday, the same day that the new ESPN direct-to-consumer app launches. I thought that was pure genius because, yes, today, as we're recording this right now on a Thursday, today launched the brand new ESPN direct-to-consumer streaming service, where it's going to be, I think, $29.95, but depending upon who your cable provider is, which I have Verizon Fios, it's basically a part of your package. So, go ahead.
No. $29.99 is the monthly fee for it. I think you can get an annual subscription as well, but I'm not sure
Right.
what the savings is on that. As of now, I know Sling and Verizon Fios are two of the cable subscriptions that you get it included, as well as Hulu Plus with live TV is another one that you'll get that. Now, I'm a YouTube TV subscriber. We do not have that yet. However, there are reports that they are working with other cable networks like YouTube TV to potentially have deals in place. I don't know if the deal is going to be in place by the time of WrestlePalooza next month. I can knock on wood and hope that it is, because in all honesty, I'm not happy about having to pay $29.99 to continue to be a WWE fan. I did the breakdown of this, and I mean, if we're talking about this now, I doing the breakdown of this, the cheapest option to be a full-time WWE fan that includes Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, and NXT plus PLEs costs at the cheapest option $70 a month for wrestling fans, for WWE fans, which I think is a little ridiculous if you ask me. It's asking a lot of wrestling fans to do that, especially when we're going from paying $5.99 to what is it? It's $5.99 to I forget what the other Peacock plans are. You're talking about a 200% jump in
Right.
price just to watch PLEs anymore. And unfortunately, as much as Nick Khan says he feels people are going to go over, I think you're going to see a rise in piracy again because people are going to find other ways to watch these.
100%.
And I think it's overconfidence in that. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy that they're making these deals to expand these companies, to make them bigger, to make them more global, to give us more production value out of it. I mean, you look at all the stuff that we got out of the Netflix era. We've got drones, we've got like all these different production camera shots. That
Right.
stuff like that costs money.
It does.
I don't have a problem with seeing Prime on the mat. I don't have a problem with seeing Slim Jim on the mat because I can look past it. So all the people that are like saying like all the advertising is getting to be too much. No, it's really not. If you watch UFC, it's been there for years. You you
Right.
tend you tend to forget that it's even there. Why would you complain UFC that WWE has it and UFC does? Like I don't get it. My biggest issue is the price point. And I as of right now, I don't know if I'm going to be subscribing to the new ESPN because I don't watch enough sports to I have MLB package to watch baseball. I have other means to watch hockey and football. I watch what airs on normal television. I don't have a need for it other than WWE. So
Yeah,
I don't know
it's
if I want to pay it.
but I mean, if you look at sports overall, WWE aside, NBA just went to they're going to Prime, right?
Hmm.
There's all the NFL. You forget they're being shown on Prime. They got the Christmas special on Netflix, okay? And Fox is having their direct to consumer, I guess a similar type of thing that ESPN has. So I feel that in order for us to consume sports, we're gonna have to pay for it now.
Yeah.
And I believe that again, linear tel and I said this a couple of weeks ago on the show. I believe this is the start of linear television truly going away because now you're having, I mean, it is just money just being thrown at these sports entities. You know what I mean? With NFL and Major League Baseball and the WWE, you know, obviously with TKO, obviously with the UFC under the same umbrella, it's a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, well, these people are going to pay for it. You know, will we start going to bars to watch this stuff again? I mean, who knows? I mean,
Yeah.
there's because that's what I used to do.
Me
Not for
too.
nothing. From 2007 until 2014, I used to go to Buffalo Wild Wings every single month faithfully to watch pay-per-views. I used to.
I mean, don't forget there used to be. I mean, we're going back a little ways too, back to like the late '90s. WWE used to have a prime spot in Times Square with the restaurant where you could go and watch the pay-per-views
Right.
with other like fans, and it was WWE's way of capturing what you just mentioned of going to bars but
Right.
putting their branding on it. So I have a feeling you're right. We're probably going to shift back to that. You're going to have people that are getting together in groups to watch it instead of
Yep.
individuals watching it. Maybe that's what they want. I don't know. But there's other things that I get the moves that WWE is trying to make and TKO is trying to make, but I feel like they are focusing too much on the people that can afford it and not worrying about the people that can't. And another aspect of this too, talking about it from the convention side of things,
Right.
the deal with Fanatic that WWE signed.
Hmm.
It is, I understand, like, I know, I love the fact that you got press access and you were able to go to Fanatic Fest in New York City. I tried, and unfortunately, I had a conflict of timing, so I couldn't go. And, you know, what people don't realize is that, yes, there's this big Fanatic event in New York City,
Right.
and you can go and you can meet the WWE superstars and you can see all these things. It's basically their version of what WrestleMania Access is.
Used to be, right.
Yeah. And but the downside to it that a lot of people don't see is that Fanatic has these exclusive deals with WWE wrestlers, with WWE superstars, that they now cannot go and do convention circuits anymore without it costing a lot of money to the convention. The only person I have seen break away from the Fanatic deal and do conventions is Cena. Cena has been doing Fan Expo. He's been doing a number of other shows. But I remember working shows where we had Cody, we had Jericho, we had a lot of these other people coming in and doing signings and doing
Right.
autographs. We can't get them now. We get AEW superstars.
Right. For sure.
Like,
Sure.
like in November, we have Dustin Rhodes, we have Chris Jericho, we have a number of AEW superstars.
Right.
Now, we'll, with the potential rumor that I'm sure we'll talk about, the Jericho appearance might change. We'll see.
Right.
Hopefully our contract sticks if that rumor comes to be. But we can't sign WWE superstars to do appearances at our shows anymore because Fanatic owns their contract. Which, yes, I understand you want to bring them in. You're making these huge spectacle events, but you're taking away from other people who can't get to New York to do this, who
Right.
rely on conventions in Colorado or in San Francisco or San Jose. These shows that these people that are local to these people can't get these guys now because
Right.
Fanatic owns this contract and they do one show and it's in New York. It's on the other side of the country. So again, I like the moves that WWE is making. I like the production value, but it's a double-edged sword. It is hurting a lot of other fans.
It is. And let me just say this. Now, I was at SummerSlam a couple of weeks ago with my stepdaughter, and I took her to see Rhea Ripley when she was doing a photo op meet and greet. Now, that is also with Fanatics as well. So when they're doing WrestleMania, for example, that I don't know if you saw like the Fanatics logo in the background, that's they're a part of that. When they do SummerSlam weekend, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna do that for Survivor Series weekend in San Diego. You know what I mean?
And most likely it's probably going to be Royal Rumble as well, since these are PLEs that are going to 2 days.
Yeah, and I mean, right as of right now, there's only supposed to be 2 days for two events, and that's WrestleMania and SummerSlam. That's the only thing that's happening right now. I don't know if the Royal Rumble is going to go 2 days. That was a rumor that they kind of killed, but again, we don't know. But it's crazy that it's just money. They're printing money right now. Now, obviously, they're charging an arm and a leg. I just saw the prices today on for WrestlePalooza. And I'm just
for
like,
floor seats at
are you
WrestlePalooza.
serious?
Yeah. It's
Now,
floor seats for WrestlePalooza. I mean, you're talking like what was the cheapest seat I saw? Like over $5,000.
yeah,
Like,
that's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I saw that and I'm just like, never mind. I'm just gonna do my thing. But with that being said, I wanna turn my attention to Peacock because obviously this Peacock deal with the PLEs was supposed to end and obviously at the end of the year, but Peacock, and I'm just going off of the Hollywood Reporter, they're saying that Peacock, which had to give their okay for this to happen, will live stream its last WWE PLE later this month. ESPN did not buy out Peacock's remaining rights. The Hollywood Reporter has learned instead the arrangement for WWE PLEs to exit Peacock was brokered between WWE and Peacock and then brought to ESPN, which is owned by Disney, of course. And I'm just skipping down, but it says in a multi-year deal, actually, that they just signed yesterday, Peacock gets 4 primetime WWE Saturday Night's main events per year. 2 will take place in 2025, one on November 1st, and the other one on December 13th. The latter will feature John Cena's retirement match.
Yep.
The WWE Network library will remain available on Peacock through the end of 2025, and NXT's PLEs will stream on Peacock until March 2026. We do not know what will happen with the rebus of WWE's archives next year, but throughout the duration of the multi-year partnership, SmackDown's library will stay on Peacock on a 30-day delay, and the weekly episodic SmackDown series airs live on NBC's Universal's USA Network on Friday nights. So there's a lot to unpack because number one, I don't know if you've noticed, but they're been migrating a lot of their archive library on YouTube in the WWE Vault,
Mhm.
and there's a WCW Vault on there as well. So I'm wondering, are they going to probably end up saying, "Hey, we can monetize our own content on YouTube"? Because we know that people are going to go and watch this vintage stuff. Your thoughts?
Um, you know what? As far as the like the vault footage and monetizing it, I agree to a certain extent. I really, in all honesty, like I haven't put too much thought into the vault stuff on YouTube, only because I
Hmm.
don't watch it. But I mean, I could see again the pros and cons of it. You're going to have people who are, complaining that they can't access it. It's one of these things that like I feel like WWE has been. I feel like they're trying to. If you look at overall about everything, this deal with Peacock, the deal with ESPN, the deal with Netflix, you have all these different broker deals. I feel like maybe their ultimate goal is to kind of combine everything down to one again. You know, this this deal with Peacock, it's still until March. I think March of next year is the latest anything goes. I believe, correct?
Remember they signed the multi-year deal for Saturday night's main event.
Okay, yeah.
So they still have the relationship with NBC Universal because of the fact that they do own USA Network, in which SmackDown is on every Friday.
Well,
So,
and Saturday night's main event airs on NBC when it's
well,
live.
actually, well, no, it's going
Is
to be
that going purely to Peacock?
it's a Peacock exclusive. That's it.
Wow. Okay,
It's
that
a
I did not
Peacock.
know.
Yeah, it's a Peacock exclusive now. So now that's why, and I think they wanted to keep that relationship there for that specific reason to make sure that hey, we want to ensure that people are still, you're still going to get traffic, that WWE traffic, with Saturday night's main event as well.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at everything and like obviously the deal with Netflix, I didn't mind as much because I already had a Netflix subscription. So I
Right.
was like, "Oh, perfect. Like I get to watch this now and maybe they'll amp up the language or whichever, which they have occasionally. We had that one Cody let the F word fly the one week. So we've gotten some new stuff out of it.
Hmm.
If they ended up pulling SmackDown from Peacock and put that on ESPN as well and moved other things, maybe like NXT, I could see the value in the 29.99 monthly fee.
Right.
As far as Peacock goes, I have a subscription, so it doesn't bother me. I like the fact that there'll still be stuff that I can watch. I
Right.
don't watch SmackDown on Peacock. I watch SmackDown on YouTube TV because it's on USA.
Good. Right.
The only thing I watched WWE on Peacock was the PLEs. And Saturday night main event.
Right.
So, like I'm not going to get rid of my Peacock subscription just because WWE is not on it anymore because I use it for other things. But um I feel like I'm rambling and I apologize.
No, 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 no. Because it's a lot of information, and I
It
think
is.
I mean, to think about like a couple of weeks ago, we were just talking about this because they garnered this new deal starting next year, and then all of a sudden we're like, whoa, 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 wait a minute. We're actually going to start this a little bit early, and we're going to start this next month. So this had been, to your point, this had to have been in the works for a
Yeah.
long time, and just saying, no, we're actually. I think the launch date was probably going to start in September because to just out of the blue say, "Oh, let's start in September." No, that I believe these were things that were just in the works, and I'm sure there was contracts that had to be worked out, especially how do we get an out from NBC Universal with Peacock? Oh, let's sign an extension with Saturday Night's main event.
Yeah.
So you still keep us, you'll still keep us on your chip 4 times a year. You'll get us exclusively. It'll be a Peacock exclusive, and then we can get our out and go to ESPN. But I got to tell you, think about this for a second. Now, back in the day, I'm talking 85, 86, 87. I saw 84, as a matter of fact. I watched World Class Championship Wrestling on ESPN, where they showed Kerry Von Erich winning the NWA World Championship from Ric Flair. I actually watched that on ESPN. It was on tape delay. That was the David Von Erich Memorial Show they did at the old Texas Stadium where the Cowboys used to play.
Okay.
So World Class was on ESPN. The AWA was also on ESPN during that time. I was watching maybe 87, 88, back when Diamond Dallas Page was managing Bad Company, Pat Tanaka and Paul Diamond. Like back the Midnight Rockers were on there. You know what I mean? So there was a lot of guys from from the old school that were on the AWA. But then I think maybe like 91, 92, there was another promotion called Global Wrestling Federation where there was a tag team known as the Ebony Experience, who you knew as Harlem Heat, made their wrestling debut in Global. There was the Handsome Stranger, who you know as Buff Bagwell. Prayers up to Buff Bagwell. Hope with his leg amputation and everything. My God, there were so many wrestlers.
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Sorry.
the Patriot was wrestling it down in Global. Jeff Gaylord, Chaz. The list goes on and on. So I was watching professional wrestling on ESPN. But the fact that we're getting like Adam Schefter tweeted about the WWE yesterday. To think about where we are now in 2025, where professional wrestling is getting this mainstream coverage. Let's face it, we always wanted to be accepted. Pro wrestling always wanted to be accepted by mainstream. And they always used to say that was just a niche product. That was a niche genre of sports and entertainment. And now that I think the sports world has gravitated towards the entertainment value of sports, when you have celebration, we think about the entrances now at sports games.
Yeah.
Now it's pro wrestling.
I mean, look at the fact that when we have athletes who win major championships, they're carrying WWE replica belts on their shoulder. Like that is their personal championship. You check
this out. But here's the thing. You know when that started? I'll tell you when it started. When the 2004 Detroit Pistons, the following season, were going to get their rings and they were going to raise their banner. Shout out to Rasheed Wallace, University of North Carolina alum. He actually bought the big gold belt for all the teammates during opening night in was it October, November 2004. That's when belt culture started in major sports.
Well, how long ago was that? What year was that?
That was the fall of 2004.
Okay, yeah. So it's been over 20 years that this has been, just over 20 years that the belt culture has been happening. And it still continues to this day. So much so where WWE has in the store team logoed belts. I mean, I know you would appreciate it. I almost bought the New Jersey Devils one a couple years ago when they offered it up. I didn't, but I almost did because I know you have a couple replica belts. I have a replica belt.
Right.
When I bought mine, they were like $300, which was expensive at the time.
Back then.
Now they're like $700.
Yeah.
But
it's insane.
I'm still tempted to get another one at some point. So, but yeah, I mean, like the belt culture, you look at the use of athletes within the WWE. They're always, whenever they go to a town, Raw in Philadelphia this past week, you had Philadelphia Eagles sitting in the front row. WrestleMania 40, we had, Kelsey in the ring, and like, they're always up. They've been a part of WWE culture for a while because it's a mutual respect. You have the athletes who respect the WWE superstars, and it's vice versa. And you talk about how we've always wanted to be included, we've always wanted to be respected. It goes back to the whole new nerds will rule the world.
Right.
You have, when it comes to pop culture, you have superhero and comic book movies running the theaters, and now we have professional wrestling running the sports world.
Right.
Like we are included now. We are at our peak, as you said. And I love it.
Yeah, it's incredible because I mean, again, when you're getting credible people that talk news, you figure Adam Schefter during free agency, his phone is he has two phones where he's reporting news and he's answering phones from these GMs, agents all over the league. He's busy. All these different transactions that happen, injuries, people getting cut. You know what I mean? Who's getting fired, especially Black Monday. He's a credible source of NFL. You know what I mean? So he's tweeting about WWE. Heck, today, as we're recording as early on First Take, CM Punk was on First Take today, and he's talking with Molly Qerim. And I'm just saying, like, what universe are we living in now? And I'm so happy that, again, they're getting this worldwide coverage now. Yeah. And in WrestleMania, can you imagine? Because I was just talking about this. Can you imagine WrestleMania and you have a sports center at Allegiant Stadium and they're doing Sports Center from there?
Yeah. Thinking about WrestleMania being a part of Sports Center now on ESPN, it's going to be. And it's not just going to be Sports Center. You're going to have Monday Night Raw. You're going to have Friday Night SmackDown, NXT. You're going to have, anytime there's a title change or a major happening. I mean, you look at SummerSlam, that guaranteed, if that SummerSlam match between John Cena and Cody Rhodes, which freaking match of the year in my opinion, or at least a nominee for it. Yeah. If that had happened after this deal had happened, they'd be talking all about that on SportsCenter.
I agree.
I don't know if they did or not, but
I don't think so. But it's just the fact that now the possibilities are endless, and who knows, there could be a debate show that may develop somewhere down the line on ESPN when it comes to pro wrestling. Holla, you know what I mean? Sign us up. Yeah. Sign us up. Gabi too. You know what I mean? She's off this week, but sign us up, because here's the thing. We're knowledgeable fans. We've been in this content creating space for a long time. We've seen the Mat Wars over the decades. If you wanted to talk about who's the top 5 greatest WWE champions of all time, and we can go down the list. We could talk about it. Whether it's the wrestling aspect, whether it's the charisma, the mic work, all those other things that makes up a true WWE superstar, and the guys that held those titles. We could talk about that. I foresee that happening, that a show could develop, because there's no way in the world that they're going to spend this much money on just PLEs. I will not buy it. There has to be something coming beyond PLEs at this point. Do you agree?
I do agree. And, because especially when you look at the fact that, and this is something we haven't touched on either, you look at all this money that's going to be coming in, both from the ESPN deal, from the Peacock deal, from the deal with Fanatics, from all these advertising
Netflix.
Deals, from Netflix. As you said, they're printing their own money right now.
Right.
And what's nice about it is that we're getting a lot of entertainment out of that, but you also look at the fact that, like, and I know it makes a lot of people mad anytime they release WWE superstars, because
absolutely, yeah,
because they're people that we love, and there are people that like, oh well, if WWE is making all this money, how come they're releasing these people? Well, they just don't have anything for them right now. Just because they're being released doesn't mean you're not going to see them again. But it gives them the opportunity, when they have all this money coming in, that maybe they won't have to release superstars as they go. They can just develop another show or develop another medium of some kind to use these people. So, you look at all the other entertainment we're getting outside of just the live shows. You look at LFG, you look at Greatest Moments, Unreal on Netflix. It's all of this money from these deals that's coming in that's making it available for them to do these things.
Let's not forget. On Tubi you have Evolve.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. That's NXT's basically the farm system is Evolve on Tubi. So that's another thing.
How crazy is it that over the years, as you said, Evolve is NXT's farm system. NXT used to be the farm system,
right?
When it was OVW, and going back to those days, and I'm pretty sure you were there too, but like I remember going to the first ever NXT pay-per-view in Brooklyn right before SummerSlam.
That was 2015. Unfortunately, I had to teach that weekend and I couldn't go.
Oh, okay.
But still, it was like that was their coming out party.
Yeah.
Because for a long time they was doing that. They did Arrival and they was doing these small takeovers. But man, when they did take over Brooklyn,
Yeah.
that's when they put their flag and they planted the thing right in the ring. And when Triple H he was talking and the lights were out,
Dude,
and
I still I still go back and rewatch. There are two things that happened that weekend, and I'm sorry to kind of diverge for a minute.
no, go.
There are three things that happened that weekend that I am proud to have been a part of because they still give me chills when I think about it. The first is NXT, the first ever NXT Brooklyn, the NXT Takeover Brooklyn, as you were talking about, when Triple H starts in the ring with the arena dimmed, starts doing that monologue, and then the lights come up, he's got his arms up, like, and the camera just does that spin to show this is the massive audience that NXT has now. I was in that arena when he did that, so that gives me chills. But that was also, if I remember correctly, no, I'm sorry, I'm mixing weekends. I was also going to say that was also the same weekend of the Dolph Ziggler cash in, but that was WrestleMania.
WrestleMania 29.
That was WrestleMania
the
29.
The Raw after, yeah.
I think you were at that one, weren't you?
I was not because I was actually
okay.
no, because you want to know why? I was actually preparing for an audition for the movie Draft Day. Believe it or not.
Oh, okay. but that also is a moment that gives me chills because two things happened that night. We were the birth of the Fandango.
Yeah.
And that pop when Dolph Ziggler's music hit is still to this day one of the biggest pops I have. That place erupted.
Yeah, Izod Center went crazy. And I mean, granted, I was home watching it. And I just could not believe that night was just like the fans just took over Raw.
Yeah.
And Michael Cole had to say a couple times on commentary, this is not your normal WWE, universe crowd. And that was clearly that was a VKM, him telling him to say that. But you can't diminish what's real. And that was raw emotion.
Yeah. We were the birth of the Fandango, and there were one or two matches that night that weren't really drawing in the attention of the crowd. So we were making our own entertainment by rooting on like the ice cream
Randy
man.
Orton. It was Randy. I believe it was Randy Orton and Sheamus, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
We were chanting for the ice cream man, for the popcorn vendor, like anything we could find to chant about to keep ourselves entertained during the match. We were doing it.
Yeah, that was crazy. But getting back on track though.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. But now that we've covered all the bases in regards to what this streaming deal means. Now, to give it a jump in regards to what this means for AEW, like I said, and I know we talked about them a little bit earlier, but do you think they will be able to combat this? Because ESPN is just next level, bro.
I don't think we're going to see AEW going away anytime soon. I may not be a fan of it, but as I've told people, I know people who are loyal to AEW. They watch AEW, they don't watch WWE. They feel like there's something more real and more raw to it. And more power to anybody who feels that way about AEW. I may not be a fan, but that doesn't mean I'm going to try and deter anybody from watching it. Right. And I think you're going to have those fans. I mean, look at the fact that TNA is still around. Look at the deal that WWE has with TNA right now, which just the fact that we're seeing Joe Hendry pop up on NXT is
no, Joe Hendry at Wrestle Freaking Mania.
Yeah. Dude. Joe Hendry in Royal Rumble first.
Yes.
And then not only getting a match with Randy Orton at WrestleMania, but having his own WrestleMania merch at WrestleMania.
In which I bought the t-shirt, by the way. And the fact that the TNA World Championship was seen at WrestleMania really goes to show you where we are today in wrestling and all these deals. But here's my thing, and I said this a couple of weeks ago, and you can chime in on it. I think that this is not the end, because I have a feeling that TNA is going to get a television deal either with the CW or USA Network. Because there has been a rumor that they're going to try to sick TNA on AEW. Your thoughts?
So I also heard a rumor about TNA, and the rumor that I heard is that with this contract that is currently happening with WWE and TNA, which I think is amazing, by the way, I don't know why we haven't been doing this sooner. instead of competing with each other, but working together
Right.
as wrestling. I mean, this is what used to happen back in the day
The
before
territories.
WWE. In the
The
territories,
territories, yeah.
it's becoming territories again, which I'm fine with. But the rumor that I heard is that when this deal ends, which I forget how long the deal is, I think it was only a 2-year deal to start. There is an option for WWE to purchase TNA. The only thing is that they have to hear out any other companies who might be willing to purchase TNA at the time. So AEW could, in essence, step in. I don't think they have the money to do it. But if they could find a way, they could come in, purchase AEW, purchase TNA. The only thing is that and it's also part of the deal. Again, this is all speculation and rumor, but the other part of the deal is that if AEW were to come in and buy TNA, they still have to allow TNA and the WWE to work together. Which, if that were to happen, to me, would basically just be a merger of all three. Because all AEW would have to do is move their talent to TNA, which means their talent could now go. AEW talent could work on WWE.
Right. That will ultimately be the loophole. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
so yeah. I'm sorry. What going back to what it was? I distracted myself. I apologize. What was the question again? My thoughts
my thoughts are mainly as far as
competing with AEW.
Competing, right.
Again, I don't think AEW is going to go anywhere. There's always going to be that niche. It's like I said, you look at the fact that TNA has survived all this time, even without major television deals or anything like that. AEW is going to be the same way. AEW, in my opinion, actually has a leg up on TNA. So the fact that TNA is still around, I feel like is proof positive that AEW is still going to survive. It doesn't matter how big WWE gets. I mean, unless they do something on their own and to kind of implode the company, I don't think WWE is going to put them out of business. And in all honesty, I don't think WWE is trying to put them out of business. They want to compete with them, obviously.
Yeah.
But, you get a number of WWE superstars and like the locker rooms. There are so many people in the locker room who are of the mind of let people like what they want to like.
Right.
They have friends who are in AEW.
These other companies,
TNA.
right.
You look at Rhea Ripley is married to somebody she's married to somebody in TNA, but
no AEW, but Buddy Matthews is in AEW.
Is he? Oh yeah, you're right.
So he's in AEW.
So I mean, you have relationships that cross these companies. Yeah. I don't, let people that's the mindset that I take is let people like what they want to like. I don't think WWE is trying to put them out of business much. It's not WWE is not the WWE WCW feud.
No, it's totally different because WCW was owned by a television company. AEW is legit owned by Tony Khan.
Yes.
So he's the be all end all when it comes to AEW. And keep in mind that WCW was not wanted by AOL Time Warner. They wanted nothing to do with pro wrestling. This new regime at Warner Brothers Discovery wanted AEW, and they grew and they benefited from the NBA leaving Warner Brothers Discovery, and they were able to throw that money at AEW to keep them on their platform. So kudos, and they're able to get the streaming deal with HBO Max. You know what I mean? So. And hopefully, I'm hoping that they can start putting their pay-per-views that can turn to PLEs strictly to HBO Max. I think that'll benefit them greatly because now you'll be able to. It won't be as much, you know what I mean? Because you're shelling out $49.95 a pop for 8 pay-per-views a year. Like hey, it's a lot. But I mean, at the end of the day, the fact that all these deals are being made over the last couple of years lets you know that professional wrestling is in a damn good place. Speaking of which, I gotta mention, speaking of another company that WWE is working with and also acquired, AAA had their pay-per-view last weekend, which was, well, I guess you can't call it a pay-per-view because it was actually on YouTube, but it was their Triple Mania event, which is like their WrestleMania, and I actually watched it. And I'll read the press release that they put out the next day. And it's a Triple Mania 33, a Mexican Lucha Libre promotion, AAA's largest annual event, became the most viewed and highest grossing Triple Mania event hit in event history. Streamed globally on WWE and AAA's YouTube channels in Spanish and English, the broadcasts have been watched by more than 4.3 million viewers in the first 24 hours and hit a peak live concurrent audience of 614,000 with a crowd of 19,691 at the Arena CDMX in Mexico City this past Saturday. Triple Mania marked the highest attendance for any Mexican Lucha Libre show this year and set AAA's all-time gate record. Additionally, the event broke records for the highest ever merchandise sales in AAA history. On X, formerly known as Twitter, of course, hashtag Triple Mania was the #1 trending topic in the United States and Mexico on Saturday and hit a record 208 million views were generated across official AAA and WWE social platforms. The record-breaking event was highlighted by El Hijo del Vikingo defeating Dragon Lee, Dominic Mysterio, and El Grande Americano to retain the AAA Mega Championship. Pagano and Psycho Clown defeating Angel and Berto to win the AAA Tag Team titles. El Hijo de Dr. Warner Jr. defeating El Messias to win the Latin American Championship and more. WWE acquired leading Mexican Lucha Libre promotion AAA in a partnership with Mexico-based sports and entertainment holding company Philippe. So, man, I got to tell you, I watched the event. And before I get into my thoughts on the event, what do you think about this partnership of all the things that I just mentioned in that that press release that was just mentioned by WWE?
Well, you look at all the things that you mentioned about how, like, the numbers that it's drawing in, like the number of views that it has and how much they're breaking records of all these things. This is what happens when you don't compete against each other, but you work together. You look at everything, going back to the TNA TNA deal now with AAA wrestling and how it's producing these numbers, and you're seeing all these people. I mean, I haven't had a chance to watch the event yet because I was in Colorado at the time working an event.
Right.
But the one thing that blew up my social media was Microman and Omos. Because it got
82 million views.
It's ridiculous. And it's literally 30 seconds. But you look at those numbers, the fact that you have Omos competing in a AAA ring. You had Mr. Iguana competing on Monday Night Raw, who I love, by the way. Like, all of this working together, this collaboration is good for professional wrestling. I just wish we could get everybody to do it. I'm hopeful. I don't know if it's ever going to happen. And I feel like it's more a Tony Khan thing than a Nick Khan thing. I would love to see within the next 5 years, AEW and WWE having some kind of partnership.
I hope so too. But it all started at the Hall of Fame in 2019 when DX went in there. And, of course, Billy Gunn was a part of that Hall of Fame induction, but he had just signed with AEW as a producer/coach. And Triple H made the comment of Pissant Company.
Yeah.
That started there. And then, of course, Cody responding with breaking the throne, you know what I mean? Which has all been forgiven, by the way. He's there back to WWE. But it was like this back and forth stuff that was happening and little moves being made. You know what I mean? Like when first episode of Dynamite, WWE put on NXT at the same time. You know what I mean? And I was just like, oh, and I'm pretty sure that Tony Khan was, he would say things like, for example, was it last year's NFL draft? Because he was selling the injury, which I'm glad he did, by the way. He wore a neck brace during the NFL draft. And he said something in the realm of AEW is more like Pepsi or Coca-Cola, and WWE is more like Harvey Weinstein. And I'm just like, no, no. But what he didn't realize, the WWE is a licensing partner of the NFL.
Yeah.
Because who's giving out championship belts? The WWE.
Yeah.
So I was just like, dude, like that was low blow, man. I'm sorry.
But look, I am of the mindset that if we can see Brock Lesnar back in the WWE again, then anything is possible.
No, no, no. If you can see Philip Jack Brooks back in the WWE, if you can see the Ultimate
Okay.
Warrior, when you can see Bret Hart, when you saw Hogan
Yeah.
come back, at the end of the day, VKM always said it's
What's best
always
for
what's best
business.
for business.
Yep. Yeah.
So they may not have to like each other or whatever, but if you can make me money, then all things goes away.
I mean, yeah. I mean, look at the fact that, you know, we have an NXT superstar holding the TNA championship.
Right.
You know, you have WWE superstars holding AAA championships, and
Mm-hmm.
it's, you know, this collaboration is great. But getting back to your point of my thoughts on everything with this AAA deal, I think again, it's great for business. Personally, I love it because I was not familiar with AAA. I didn't watch AAA. I knew, obviously, I know of it, and I know Lucha Libre style from Rey
Right.
Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio.
Right. Right. Right.
But now I get to experience Lucha Libre wrestling outside of just the WWE superstars that do it.
Right.
Outside of Rey Mysterio, outside of Penta, outside of Dragon Lee, outside of El Grande Americano, um, or Ludwig Kaiser. Um, you know, I'm getting to see it now from people who are doing it day to day to day, and I'm loving it. I'm getting introduced to new wrestlers. I'm getting introduced to Psycho Clown, to Mr. Iguana, to all these new people that I'm becoming fans of. So
Right.
I have every intention of watching Triple Mania. I just haven't had an opportunity to do it yet.
But remember, this is not the first time that the WWE worked with AAA. Remember the Royal Rumble 1997? When you had Cibernetico and you had the Latin Lover and you had Mil Mascaras
Yes.
in the Royal Rumble, and then you had the Minis. Remember
Yes.
them? The
Yes.
6-man tag?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is not the first time that WWE worked with AAA, but not to this extreme. Like,
No,
this
I
is
mean,
huge.
well, I mean, their ownership now. So I mean, you know, it's the way to do it. Now, I'm not saying WWE has to go and buy every company they want to work with, but I like deals like this because again, this is great for wrestling fans. We're getting new
Indeed.
talent, we're getting to see new things, and we're getting to see it intermingle with each other. These
Right.
are things that like it's kind of going to pop culture. It's kind of like DC and Marvel.
Right.
It's, you know, nobody ever thought you'd see Superman take on Captain America, but
Right.
here we are seeing these crossovers and they're entertaining. And that's what's most important is the entertainment.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of which, they already announced that next month, September 12th, another Worlds Collide event, which will be headlined
Yeah.
by Vikingo defending the AAA Mega Championship against the Intercontinental Champion Dominic Mysterio. Now, there have been rumblings I heard and I read that they're trying to make Dom like one of the faces down in AAA because when he did a run in a couple of weeks ago under a mask and when he revealed himself, that crowd went crazy for Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah,
So
he's the best Mysterio. I mean, what can you say?
yeah, I mean, and it's great. I mean, he's really coming to his own now.
Yeah, he
Like
has.
to me, he's not Ray's son anymore. He's just Dominic Mysterio.
There are two people currently on the WWE roster who I did not like, and I have done complete 180s on, and I may still not like their characters, but I'm entertained by their characters, and that's all that matters. Dominic Mysterio and Logan Paul. And, you know, Dom, I'm sold on Dom. He's got great in-ring talent, and if that's their plan for him is to kind of shift him towards AAA a little bit, I'm all for it. I mean, he has the style. He's learned from the best to do it in Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero. I mean, he has legitimate in-ring talent. So to see him do that. Oh, the other clip that I saw too, and it really made me entertained, was seeing uh Finn Balor bring out the uh
The demon
the demon
yeah,
the demon puppet.
he ate yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
That was funny. That
But I
was
mean,
quite funny.
how interesting would it be to have that title match happen and now have, as much as I don't know if it'll happen, What if Dominic loses that title and you now have a WWE title being held by a AAA wrestler? It's more of that crossover. It's similar to having Trick Williams holding the TNA championship. What if somebody from AAA is now holding a WWE championship?
It would be interesting, but I don't think the IC title is going to be on the line.
I don't think it
it's
is.
No, it's just the AAA Mega
Yeah.
Championship. But the fact that we could potentially see Dominic Mysterio on Monday Night Raw with the AAA Mega Championship, that will just put so much stock. His stock is going to rise tenfold at that
It
point.
it would put a lot of stock on him, but the downside to that to me is that it feels a little one-sided with WWE making all these deals, but WWE talent are the ones holding all the belts. You have Trick Williams on NXT holding the TNA championship.
Mm-hmm.
You had
JC Jane
JC
holding
Jane.
the Knockouts title, right?
You had Los Garzas holding the AAA World Tag Team Championship up until Sunday. If Dominic wins that title and now holds it, it feels like WWE stripping all the belts from the two companies and bringing them into WWE, which that aspect I don't like. I would like to see it kind of balanced a little bit.
Yeah, but that's why I think they didn't have they had Vikingo retain because everyone thought that it was going to be one of the WWE guys, mainly Dominic, winning the title because it only makes sense for him to win it right now.
Yeah. So, but I mean, who knows? I think a one-on-one match though between Vikingo and Mysterio is going to be off the chain.
I definitely believe so too. But the last piece of news, and I know we had to save this one for last, but we talked about it earlier. But there has been rumors over the last couple of weeks, and apparently it's been heating up that one Chris Jericho's contract with the AEW is coming to an end this December. And it looks like he may be coming back home to WWE. And I know there was something on Instagram. It was a post on Instagram about it, and he liked the post. And I mean, man, I never thought he would go back. I honestly thought he was going to stay in AEW.
Well, I mean, so my thought process on this is first off, I would love to see that happen. I mean, to see him come back to WWE and wrap up his. Because let's be honest, if he comes back to WWE, this is going to be the wrap up of his career. This is where he's gonna finish everything up.
Right.
You gotta look back at the time when people like Chris Jericho, when Brian Daniels, or Brian Danielson, whichever you want to call him, Edge, Christian, all these people were making the leap from WWE over to AEW. A lot of that issue stemmed from who was running the company at the time, and that was Vince. There were a lot of issues as to why these people were leaving. Well, Vince isn't. It's CM Punk, another example of that. Vince isn't in charge anymore. Vince isn't with the company anymore. It's a new regime with Hunter at the helm. This is the Triple H era. This is the Paul Levesque era of WWE. Things are a lot different. So I think a lot of these guys are seeing that. And for Jericho, I feel like this is one of those things where like the conversation was had that Hunter probably reached out and said, "Hey, doors open if you want to come back." And these guys are seeing that things are different now. It's not just locker room morale is different. Like it's not just the fact that locker room morale is up. You have all these deals that we're talking about. They're going to be seen more. There are other things that they can do other than just being in-ring talent. There are more opportunities in WWE now than there were when they left.
Yeah.
And it's good for their careers. And I don't think we'd ever see Edge and Christian come back, but I would love to see Edge come back to WWE. And if Jericho makes the jump, makes the route back to WWE, I'm all for it. I would love to see it because I need to say more things are on the list.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine at the Royal Rumble, rather than it go to the Royal Rumble clock, they start with the Jericho clock of him coming.
I'm a fan of Fozzy, so I wouldn't mind them using Judas as his theme music, which is his theme music currently in AEW. But you're right. If he came back to WWE, it would have to be as like Jericho.
Y2J because they
It'd
own
have
the,
to be
they own the, they
Y2J.
own right
Yeah.
because they own the name Y2J. They own it.
Yeah.
It's a
Yep.
WWE trademark. So Y2J Chris Jericho's coming back, but that would be crazy if he did in the Royal Rumble. But they said depending upon I don't know when. Apparently, again, this is all rumor and innuendo, guys. I don't know if I mean again this is all rumor. We're all just speculating right now, so I don't have any inside knowledge of this. I don't know when in December his contract is up. But could you imagine on Saturday night's main event, his mystery opponent, John Cena's mystery opponent, is Chris Jericho?
Ooh, I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, because I mean, there is speculation as who Cena's final opponent is going to be, and it's got to be somebody big.
It has to be.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. That would be interesting. But there, I mean, there are so many other names that I feel like we could see come in to WWE. I mean, I'm still waiting for Paige to make the return,
Right?
and I feel like we're going to get it eventually. I would love to see her and Rhea have some kind of story
I agree. I
together,
definitely agree.
either as opponents or tag team. Like something. I want to see Rhea and Paige together in some way, shape, or form.
Because they're very, very similar in
Hmm.
style, their look, and everything. And Paige left on very, very good terms, never badmouthed the company, always appreciated what the company did for her. I mean, the list goes on and on. So I would like to see that. But I honestly thought she was going to return to Evolution.
So did
That's what
I.
I thought. I really thought
It
that was going to happen.
it would have been the perfect place for her to come back. There were two places actually that I thought Paige might have made a return. One was Evolution because I thought it would have been very fitting with everything with that the way that pay-per-view was. The other place I thought she might have made her return is the Raw after WrestleMania because let's not forget every other time she made a return to WWE, she made her WWE debut on the Raw after
After
WrestleMania
WrestleMania
where
14,
she, where she
2000, WrestleMania 30, WrestleMania
yeah,
30,
where she beat AJ for the Divas
this
Championship.
championship. Yeah.
And, and then when she was out on injury, when she came back again, when she returned, it was a Raw after WrestleMania. So I thought maybe we might have seen her after WrestleMania 41 because that was kind of the pattern.
Right.
But
No, but
when we didn't, I was like, oh, maybe they're gonna save her for Evolution. But it
yeah,
didn't
I thought
happen.
so too. Yeah, but like I said, there's a lot of like I said speculation. Like I said, a lot of wrestling to be had. Between now, the latter part of August and December, where apparently Chris Jericho. I mean, because Chris Jericho has not been seen since that Dynamite. I believe it was after Dynasty. Because I was actually at Dynasty, AEW Dynasty, where he lost the ROH title to Bandito. I was there for that. I was covering it, and I felt because he was doing the whole learning tree thing, with Big Bill, and I was just and Lee Murray, and I was just thinking like, I think his AEW thing is kind of winding down.
Mhm.
I think he kind of. I think he may have outgrown the. I mean, I don't want to say outgrown the company because I think the company is, was growing. Was continuing to grow. But I just think it's time for him to. It's time. Maybe it's his time to move on, and that's not a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? But I think him going back to the E and finishing up where he spent the majority of his career, where he became a global superstar. I think that'll be the best way for him to go out. And I mean, now the schedule is much lighter. They're only working one day a week, twice, depending upon. I know Cody does all the shows. He does the dark matches for Raw sometimes or whatever. But for the most part, they're working one day a week. But during the weekends, they may be doing, appearances or whatever the case may be. But it's a much, much, much more humane schedule. I know they're doing house shows over in Europe. Was it next week? Because it's leading up to
Yeah. Yeah, leading up to
Clash in
Paris.
Paris, right? So they're, I believe, this was it this Monday. I think they're going to be over in Europe.
Yeah, I think it's all week.
Yeah,
Next week
yeah. So
is
Raw is going to be on during the day, so that should be a lot of fun.
yeah, I think it's 3 o'clock. I think 3 o'clock Eastern Standard
Yeah,
Time is Raw. The only thing like with this Jericho deal is let's not forget. I mean, again, everything is speculation, everything is rumor. There's no confirmation of anything like this. Let's not forget, we kind of went through this a little bit with MJF not too long ago, where
Very
there was
true.
all that speculation because MJF hadn't been seen on television for a while.
Right.
They had removed his name from the website.
They did. Yeah.
There was a lot of speculation that his contract was coming to an end and we might see him debut in WWE. And then it never happened. He made his return in AEW, and it was all kind of a work. Let's just kind of keep our fingers crossed that this isn't the same thing for Jericho.
Very true.
So it could be. I mean, but I hope it's not. I would love to see Jericho return to WWE.
But it will, I mean, let's not forget too, man. I mean, he has the Jericho Cruise thing. I mean, I don't know. That's a lot of things. I mean, I don't know if he would have to give that up or whatever, or he may have to have WWE superstars on there. You never know. So that might bring more, people, as far as getting on that cruise. We'll see.
And like I said too, like we have him signed to be a guest at Rhode Island Comic Con this November. So hey, if you're on the East Coast and you want to meet Jericho, there's a place you can do it. Just come to Rhode Island Comic Con. But if he ends up signing, oh, actually, no, I take that back. His contract with AEW doesn't expire until December, so it won't affect our contract because
You
he
shouldn't.
won't have signed with WWE until after Rhode Island Comic Con.
Right.
So there's no
So
risk of us losing him at that show,
very true. Very
which
true.
is good.
Well, Ben, before we get out of here, man, let the people know where they can follow you on social media and where they can hear the Wilhelm podcast.
Yeah. So again, Wilhelm is the podcast. You can just go to welcometowilhelm.com and you can find links to the podcast there. Any film reviews that I do are there, links to interviews that I have, all the episodes of the podcast. I do multiple podcasts actually, and links to all of them are right there on the website. Everything that I do. In talks of the conventions, I am a program director with Altered Reality Entertainment, as well as a panel moderator for that show. Altered Reality Entertainment does Rhode Island Comic Con, Rhode Island Anime Con, TerraCon, which is coming up in the beginning of September in Marlborough, Massachusetts, as well as Colorado Springs Comic Con out in Colorado. And we're going to be adding some new shows to our docket next year. I'm not sure what cities yet, but if you attend any of those shows and you go to the panel area, the programming area, you can find me on stage with celebrities in that room or running around like a chicken with my head cut off, making sure all the other panels are actually happening, since that's my job with that company. AlteredRealityEntertainment.com is where you can find any of the shows that we do if you're interested in going to conventions and that kind of thing. So if you want to follow, I'll just throw this out there too. If you want to follow me personally, you can find me on Instagram at I am Ben Beck.
Awesome, awesome. Well, Ben, like I said, we've been at this 23 years, and again, like I
Long
said, a
time.
long time, man. And like I said, you're always welcome to come back onto the D-Lew podcast whenever you so desire, man. Like I said, the doors are always open, and we'll definitely be crossing paths sooner than later.
It's always a pleasure anytime we get to cross paths, whether it's doing a podcast together, me loaning you equipment to do something, or even times like WrestleMania 40 when it was here in Philadelphia and meeting up and hanging out. You and I have one of those friendships where it could be a long stretch of time that we don't speak, but nothing changes in the friendship.
100,
We're still just as
100%.
good of friends.
Absolutely, man.
And I love it.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely, man. All right, you got it. Well, that does it for this week's edition of the D-Lew podcast. Again, I want to thank Ben Beck for taking the time out of his busy schedule. That is a very, very busy man. As you guys heard, throughout the course of the episode, a lot of traveling he's been doing, to Colorado and back to Philly, and the list goes on and on. And this won't be the last time you'll see Ben, come onto the D-Lew podcast to share his expertise of what he does. Social media, you can again follow the show on social media at the D-Lew podcast. Follow my production company, Siete Media, at Siete Media, and you can follow me on social media at the real D-Lew. Subscribe, okay? Make sure you subscribe to the D-Lew podcast on all platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon Music, and of course my YouTube channel. If you can go to The YouTube channel, if you could look up The Real D-Lew, the D-Lew Podcast, Derrick T. Lewis, doesn't matter, it's all the same thing. You can go up and hit the bell, okay? Hit the bell and hit all so you get all notifications of when there's new content on my YouTube channel. You can go to my Pro Wrestling Tee store. You can go to pwt.derricklewis.com. And while you're at it, go to the official Derrick T. Lewis merchandise store where you can get that Nike merch, I might add. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I got the official Nike merchandise on my store at shop.derricklewis.com. Where I'm going to get out of here, guys. And as I always say, no matter what it is you do in life, always remember to make it count. See you next time.